This
EWM
conference
trainings
will now be recorded.
from last 5 years, and I am certified in SAP EWM S4Hana, and I have done a couple of implementations and also worked in support projects. So, can I request you to please provide me this short introduction, just a brief introduction, and about your expectations from the training session?
Okay, I'll go first. So my name is Shehzad, and I currently reside in New Zealand. I have almost 16 years of experience, but I'm been well, it's fortunately or unfortunately, I've been blessed with working on different domains of SAP, like finance, procurement, and different work streams. So the expectation for me from the EWM is like recently we have been tasked to for an EWM project, which I was basically doing a support for the queue handling. So that's how I learned the EWM. It's more through the documents and different stuff. So now I just want to be more like a technical. So that's why my expectation is like I can learn the EWM, the processes through the technical thing. So yeah, I understand the process from the business point of view, and now I just need to understand from the system point of view as well.
Okay, thank you. And can we have attendee 5 provide the brief introduction and the expectation from the training? Okay, no worries. Looks like there was some network connection at the site. So we will have a demo today, and then we will start with a brief presentation, and then I will show you about the course content, what we are going to see in the training session, or what all topics we are going to cover, and then we will see a short demo in the system. Okay. So let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yep. I just got a message from Rehan, which is I think attendee 3 or 5, I'm not sure, but he just got a call from his boss because actually in New Zealand today there's a one COVID case being detected, so there's a bit of a chaos, so people are just a bit worried. So yeah, so he will join soon.
Yeah, sure. So do you want me to hold on for him?
No, please carry on. He will join in.
Okay, there is a yours just for one case. In India, we have more than 40,000 cases every day, and people are still
like actually we are COVID free, yeah. So and recently in Australia, there's a lot of the new Delta strain. That's a lot of case been detected. So now this came to New Zealand. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So you are already working in the EWM, so you already know why we need the EWM, right? SAP had already had a WM application, but still SAP came up with EWM. And what is the need for it? That is the complexity of the warehouse, and there are several processes which are not being supported in the regular WM application, and the client always had to go for the development, right, enhancement to achieve that business process in WM. But the solution for all those developments, all those requirements are there in SAP EWM. Okay, and now this is the basic organization process with the WM or EWM application. If you take the example of any organization, say Nestle, right? Nestle is the global company and it has presence everywhere. They are into the dairy company, manufacturing into the cheese and milk products. So if we take that example, then we receive the raw material as a milk from the vendor, right? That is in the good receipt process, that we call as the inbound process. They receive the raw material in the staging area, and from the staging area, we move it in the warehouse bin. From the warehouse bin, we issue the raw material milk for production consumption, right? And then we produce the finished product as cheese. The finished product will further move into the warehouse, and you can issue it based on your stock removal strategy for the outbound shipment to the customer. That is the basic supply chain end-to-end process. Now, when we don't have EWM or WM, then we manage the inventory at the storage location level. But in case we have a WM application, then we link the plant and storage location to the warehouse. And in case we have the EWM application, then we have this structure where plant, and you can see two storage locations, one for the raw material and another one for the finished product, where you can receive the milk in one location and you can ship cheese from other storage location. So these two storage locations will be linked to the E00 warehouse, which is a WM warehouse. And in case we don't have WM, we have activated EWM, then E00 will be further linked to your E100 EWM warehouse. So in this case, E00 is just as a bridge between ERP and EWM application, and we don't need to do any configuration in E00. Everything, all the configuration setup needs to be done in E100. So when we have the EWM or the WM, this is my warehouse organization structure. The plant and storage location combination is linked to the warehouse, and this warehouse will be further divided into different storage type. Sorry. Then we have storage section, and the last spot where your product is stored is the storage space.
So sorry for
Yeah,
interruption. So what's your preference? Like, do you want me to, do you want us to ask the question straight away, or shall we wait once you finish and then we ask the questions?
no, you can ask me whenever you want. You can just stop me
Okay.
there and shoot your question.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
So you have any questions? I will just take a pause of 10 seconds. Let me know in case you have any questions.
So basically, like in our organization right now, we have the EWM and WM working hand to hand. There are a couple of plants which is already migrated from WM to EWM, and there are a couple which we still like in which we are still planning to do a transition. So yeah, so how different it is like from the migration point of view when you want to migrate from WM to the EWM? Is it like a complete new migration, or is it just like, or is there some master data changes?
No, therefore the EWM application is totally different, right? And as you know that the WM is going to be sunset in 2025, and after that
Hmm.
SAP will stop supporting WM application. So
Yeah,
the client they have no option but to migrate into EWM, and sooner the better.
yeah. So yeah,
EWM is
because
totally different application. EWM
mm,
has altogether new tables, right? All the bodies, function modules, user exits are new in EWM. So it will be like a new implementation only.
so
Uh,
so we
you
so
can
so we can't use the existing master data for that.
no you we have the template available from functional point of view where you can migrate the bins, right? The bins which are created in WM application will be uploaded in the EWM application.
Mm,
Similarly, you can have the storage type, you can have the packaging that stock with the handling units can upload directly in the EWM. But most of the uh, functionalities are brand new in EWM. Also, from the
mm.
development standpoint, the tables are totally different and function models are totally different. So we need to write a code, right, when we migrate from WM to EWM.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and also there are certain things like RFUI, right? In WM, you just have 20% standard and 80% custom. But in EWM, 80% of the functionality are available in the standard and only 20% custom based on the business requirements.
And how different is EWM is with S4 HANA embedded warehouse management, or is it the
Uh,
same?
no, in S4HANA, you have the EWM coming in the same box that is embedded. And you
Yeah.
also have an option to have the decentralized EWM in case you have 50-50 warehouses
Okay.
and fast-moving products. Then
Mm.
looking at performance issues, you may prefer to go with decentralized EWM like in the S4HANA aspect.
Okay, so you'd have that option to use that, continue with decentralized EWM.
Yes, but in that case, the core interfaces, the SIF interfaces, whatever we are using in the R3 system will be sunset, and you need to
Mm.
set up the ALE for the master data transfer between WM between S4 and EWM system.
Okay.
Okay, so throughout the training, I will provide you the difference between WM, EWM, what options are not there in the WM but available in the EWM, and
Yep.
also the difference between the non-S4 EWM and the S4 EWM.
Yep. That's fine.
Okay, so this, if you see this warehouse structure, we have the storage type, storage section. You are already working in the EWM side, so you already know about the organization structure for the warehouse, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and the activity area is a brand new concept in EWM. It was not there in my WM application. So the activity area is the grouping of the storage bins based on the activities which we are going to do in the bin. Okay, and if we talk about the storage type, do you want me to explain the storage types and sections, or you are already comfortable with that?
Uh, I think my other colleagues, they are not aware of the concept, so happy to refresh
Yeah,
for
sure.
them. Yeah.
Okay, so for example, the simplest example we could take is the automobile sector. You have the Volkswagen, right? Where they produce the vehicles with more than 1600 cc and less than 1600 cc. So if we don't have the WM application, then what you will do once the vehicle is received, produced, assembled, then you can simply put it in your storage location, and there is no organized way, right? It will be all unorganized. The system doesn't know at which spot your particular vehicle is stored. But in case you want to organize your warehouse, like the vehicles which are more than 1600 cc will be stored in one parking structure, and the vehicles which are less than 1600 cc will be stored in another parking structure, right? And in that parking structure, you have 5 levels. Each level will be having one type of product. Say vehicle A, Volkswagen Polo will be going into the parking in the level 1. When you go to the level 2, you will be having another vehicle which is more than 1600 cc. And similarly, you can put the vehicles in both the parking structures. And the exact spot where you will be putting your vehicle, that is your parking area, will be your storage space. So the two parking structures will be considered as the two different storage types. Each level of parking will be considered as a storage section, and the exact parking space where your vehicle is parked is called as a storage bin. Okay, so hope I was able to explain the structure of this WM or EWM. And the quant is just the characteristics of the material. The system will generate the quant number based on your put away, that is when you store the product or withdraw the product, the quant number gets generated automatically based on the characteristics of the material. So we don't need to worry about the quant. The system will take care of the quant number. So that will be used further in your stock removal strategy when you want to use the FIFO, LIFO, right? First in, first out, last in, first out. That time the system use the quant and determine the product which needs to be removed first based on your stock removal strategy.
This the FIFO and LIFO method, does it apply to all the storage types, or it can be goes varies from each storage type to the another? The reason why I'm saying is like we have one area where we usually load for the customers. So, and that's the plan what we have it there, that we're gonna apply the FIFO method, or it's basically first expire, first out method. So is it like this storage type can be for each method can change, or do we need to do it apply across the board with the same method?
No, that
Because
is not. We don't apply it for all the storage types. It will be
hmm,
based on your stock removal strategy. So you
so
can have
it
in
derives
one
from your
process you can apply FIFO, in another process you can apply LIFO, in another process you can apply first expiry, first out.
okay, so each storage type can have a different method.
It is not at the storage type level. You assign the FIFO, LIFO in your. In the warehouse, right? In the regular WM, you can have the stock removal strategy at the storage type level. When you
Okay,
configure the
special.
storage type, there you will specify FIFO or LIFO, which you want to use.
Okay,
Again,
okay,
for the another storage type, you need to specify differently. But in the
okay.
EWM, we will have the stock removal method configured with your stock removal strategies. And then you can apply, you can link your storage type with your stock
Yeah,
removal strategy.
yeah, because that's what we are discussing about recently, like to avoid the scrapping and old expired products. So we wanted to the one of the storage type or the section where we usually load it for the customers, on the dooryard. We want to apply the first expire first out because method where so we can avoid those expiry product to be expired and being scrapped. Rather than be scrapped, we can match with the customer specification and send it to them. So yeah, this is one of the discussions what's going on recently in my organization.
Yes, so that is the most common regular process which are used in the organization having the perishable products, right? If we
Yeah,
talk about the client Nestle, and they are also in the milk and I mean the cheese production and the milk product. So they are also using the batch management, right?
yep,
And then we are storing based on, I mean, at the batch level, and the batch has the expiry date. So we will apply the first expiry first out method, and we will prefer to remove the product which are expiring in near future. So with this, we will avoid the wastage, right? Otherwise, the product will be sitting in the warehouse and expired there itself. So that is the reason we would prefer to have first expiry first out, and you can link your storage type with that, so that all the storage type which are linked to the first expiry first out strategy will be considered for your that stock removal method. Okay, so you can
Sahil,
have,
sorry,
yes.
this is Rehania. Sorry, can I quickly ask one question about this picking routine? So, we spoke about this FIFO method or FIFO method. So, apart from just applying the blanket rule of first expiry, first out, we have certain requirements, every client has its own requirement. And traditionally, what we do in the current SAP WM world is we go and custom code it. Is there any flexibility in EWM, to manage these requirements rather than just hard coding it?
No, we are not hard coding it. In WM, the FIFO based on the batch and the expiry date is hard coded. But in EWM, you can have in search strategies. You can apply the BF DAT, that is the shelf life date, and you can even put another criteria based on the quant, right? Based on the quantity. All those criteria you can put. Even you have the option to look the stock at the HU level rather than looking at the stock at the bin level. So all those options are available in the EWM in the standard. We don't need to hard code anything.
Right. Yeah, that was my question. Thank you. So apart from the FIFO, you can add other criteria as well into the picking
Yes,
strategy.
correct.
Okay, thank
So
you.
other than first in, first out, or expiry date, you can add another criteria as well. So you have the option to club FIFO as well as FIFO. First expiry, first out, as well as first in, first out. So in that case, you can simply put the criteria based on your VFDAT, that is shelf life, and your quant,
Mm,
deep dip.
correct.
So
Correct.
with that,
Yeah, the reason I asked you because our picking strategy is works of FIFO, first expiry, first out, but that is the first criteria that it looks at the product, and then it looks at a lot of other requirements like country requirements, customer requirements, food grade quality, holes, etc., etc. And then it could actually leave out some first expiry products. It could discontinue picking that because it would either not it would have a conflict with max age on arrival or grading or customer and country requirement and so on. So all that is hard coded at the moment through a functional exit built into the picking strategy. So how flexible is EWM was my question. So I think like you said, that can be added in the criteria. So okay.
yes. So in the WM, all these are hard coded. when you apply the FIFO or LIFO or first expiry first out, I mean, we don't need to specify that PFDAT or we want the receipt date. System has hard coded it already. But in EWM, nothing is hard coded. You system will direct you to use the BFDAT, but you have the flexibility to add certain more criteria in the storage types of sequence. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so this is my warehouse structure. I receive, say for example, I am receiving the milk product in the inbound section. So I have the door, I have the truck, the trailer, which is containing the milk, which is having the milk container, and the truck will be standing at the door. And here we will be doing the unloading at the staging area. And in case of the very simple process, we will directly move from the 9010, that is the staging area, to the fixed bin, that is 0050. And similarly for the outbound, in case of the simple outbound process, we will move from 0050 to 9020 staging area. But in case, I mean, the life is not always very simple, right? So in that case, we have this workstation, that is 8010, and the packing station, that is 8020. So in case we are receiving the milk container, right, and our warehouse bin don't have capacity to fit the entire container, correct? Then we will have to spread the container. Or in case we are receiving two products in a same HU, which is packed together in our cartoon, and based on our put away strategy, we would like to split the pallet and put the two different products in different bins. Accordingly, we need to move the pallet or cartoons in the deconsolidation workstation, where we will split and the separate HUs, it will be packed in a separate HU, and then the two different warehouse tasks will be created for the final put away in the fixed bin. Okay, and similarly, if we have a requirement from the customer for a special packing, right, we are storing in our warehouse a pallet of size 100 units, but the customer want the pallet of 150 units to be packed together in a big cartoon and then ship it to them. So we will move the pallets, the cartoons, the partial pallet or full pallet in the packing station. We will pack it as per the customer requirement, and then we will move it in the staging area. From there, we will load it into the truck, which is standing at the door, and then it will be shipped out.
Abzur, a question for you. So in what scenarios do we use the fixed bins, and what scenario do we use the deconsolidation process? Like
No,
what are the scenarios?
deconsolidation is used in the inbound process, right? Where you are getting a product from the vendor. Okay. So for example, my vendor is shipping me a pallet, a big cartoon, and the cartoon contains the two different products.
So is it a
Okay.
third-party manufacturing products are you talking about?
No, I am procuring from the vendor, right? I am procuring the raw material from the vendor.
Okay.
Right. So vendor is sending me the two ingredients in one cartoon.
Okay.
Just to avoid the shipping cost and to have the full truckload, they have packed the multiple products in one carton. But based on my warehouse put away strategies and the warehouse structure and storing limitations, I wanted to have the two products which are packed in one carton to move into two different storage bins. Correct. I have storage bin A for the ingredient 1, and I have storage bin B for ingredient 2. But ingredient 1 and 2 are coming in the same cartoon. So I need to split the cartoon into two, right? For one cartoon for ingredient 1 and another cartoon for ingredient 2. Right? And then the cartoon with ingredient 1 will go into the storage bin A, and the cartoon with ingredient B will go into the storage type 2, storage bin 2. Right? Or if the vendor is sending me a 200 units in one very big cartoon, okay, but as per my warehouse capacity and the bin sizes, I can accommodate only 100 units in a bin. So that requires me to split the giant cartoon and create the two small cartoons which I can accommodate in my bin.
So we don't use the handling units here
No,
in
I
this.
mean, we are using the handling unit. We have the one handling unit, right? The handling unit is considered as a cartoon or pallet.
Okay.
So we have the FFP18 number or any other HU number, whatever we have configured in the system. So that HU, the big HU will be, we are splitting it into two small HUs. Say the big
Okay.
cartoon, we are splitting it into two small cartoons, which we can accommodate in our fixed bins. I mean, it may not be the fixed bin, it could be any bin, right? The fixed bin is just the
Yeah.
nomenclature. For example, in case you want, you are receiving the hazardous material and you just want to put away the hazardous material in a separate bin, which is kept for this kind of material. So you will be using the fixed bin strategies, and as soon as this material comes in, we will directly move it into the rack,
No,
which is
yeah.
stored for hazardous material.
Yeah, but I still don't understand that what is a scenario when we recommend the fixed bins and what is a scenario when we recommend the normal bins. What's the difference? Like when do we suggest the fixed bin in the
So
warehouse?
in case, so that's the case. In case I am receiving the hazardous product, right? I cannot store the hazardous material. Say, for example, I am procuring a chemical, right? Certain chemical which will be used in my quality assurance department, and that chemical will be used for quality testing of all the milk products which we are producing.
Hmm.
So I cannot store the hazardous material, that chemical, with my cheese, butter, and milk products. Correct. So I will have to store that chemical differently than my regular products.
So this is a fixed bin scenario, or is
Yeah,
it a
that
bulk
will,
storage?
no, that will be the fixed bin scenario. I will specify the fixed bin in the bin mat, and whenever I get the chemical, the system will direct me to store it in the fixed bin only.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay, and what about the other? So how the fixed bin is different from the other? So
No, the
like, is it
other
like,
means I am producing the cheese product, right? I am
hmm,
producing the cheese product, and every 1 hour I am changing the batch, or every 2 hours I am changing the batch. Okay. So my requirement is that all the products with one batch should go into one bin. So I receive the product from the production line, and it will be put away into one bin. Then I receive another batch. Then system will verify if the bin already contains the same batch. If yes, then it will put away in the same bin. If no, then it will put away in the another bin. Right.
okay.
So I can even have the open storage. So you might have seen in the tire company, right, or in this bottling plant, where you are getting the product in a bulk and you are just putting it in the open storage. So based on the industry and based on the material, you can have your put away strategies configured. Okay, so we have seen with in the automobile industry that we are getting a lot of tires, right? And the tire, we don't need a bin, specific bin to put away the tire. It can be just thrown in the open storage. So that could be my bulk storage, where we are simply putting the tires and one above the other and in a haphazard way without any organized structure. And I can use the last in first out strategy to withdraw the tire.
There's a one more scenario I'm thinking maybe this is the reason why the fixed bin can be used. Because in our company we are using the laser guided vehicles for the distribution and for packing. So they have to be in the specific product in the specific rack. So the laser guided vehicles they can automatically pick it like a robotic, and they can pick and they can do their put away strategy. So maybe this is the reason why we have to use those storage type as a fixed bin. Is that a right thing to think about it, or is it different?
Yeah, I mean, see, based on the organization, based on the industry type, and based on your warehouse structure and your product which you are using, you can just leverage all the bins, all the strategic, and design your business process accordingly.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, if you want a fixed bin, I mean, there could be several reasons. Okay. And then we have the yard management, and the yard management is all about the truck movement. So when, for example, we have 3 doors, and the 10 trucks are coming at a time for loading or unloading. Okay. So in that case, only 3 trucks will be docked at the door, but the rest of the 7 trucks will be standing in the parking area. Right. And when the door becomes available, when the truck completes the loading or unloading and leaves the door, then the next truck in the queue will be knocking at the door. So that will be covered in the EWM application, yard management. Okay, so we already talked about the storage type, storage section, bin, activity areas, and door where we have the truck, the TU or the vehicles coming in for loading and unloading. Then we have the staging area, which is for the interim storage of goods after unloading or before loading. And again, this is optional. You have the option to link the staging area with the door together, so that whenever you determine the staging way, the store will be determined automatically. And then we have the work center, where we are doing the additional activities other than you are picking and put away. Like we discussed about the packing and deconsolidation. And other than that, we have the counting, quality inspection, value-added service. All this we can do in the workstation. So when we use
sorry, so what is the, can you explain me the deconsolidation again? So what is exactly a deconsolidation? It's basically what is, yeah, can you explain it?
Okay, so in one cartoon, if I am getting 2 different products, right, from the vendor, and based on my warehouse capacity and warehouse structure, I would like to store the 2 products differently. One product will go into one rack and another product will go into another rack.
Okay.
Right, but in order to have the full truckload, the vendor has clubbed the 2 quantities in one carton, that's one HU. Right. So when we receive the HU, when we unload the HU, then we see that we have 2 products in this HU. The system will determine the need for deconsolidation. And then we will move it in the deconsolidation workstation, where we will split the pallet, split the HU into 2.
Okay. So this the splitting will be manually HU assigned to each products.
So system will determine the need for the deconsolidation, and then if both the products having different consolidation group, then the system will do the splitting.
Okay, so it's basically the operator does not do this. This is automatically done by the system, the HU assignment.
Yes, either the system will do it automatically, or if the operator has a specific preference, then we have an option for manual deconsolidation as well.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have the work center structure, where we have the storage type, section, and bin. Again, the same warehouse structure, and we create a separate work center and assign the storage bin in the work center. So if we talk about the deconsolidation, then we need to create a work center for deconsolidation. But in addition to work center, we need to create the structure as well, storage type, section, and bin. Okay, so when we see the inbound process, then it starts with the purchase order creation, which creates the inbound delivery, and then we have the inbound delivery in the EWM. This inbound delivery notification is no more applicable in S4HANA. It was there in the non-S4 system. In the S4 system, you have the inbound delivery getting distributed in the EWM, and then it will create another inbound delivery which has the EWM specific parameter. Like the ERP inbound delivery contains your movement type 101, but the EWM inbound delivery contains your WPT warehouse process type 1010. And you have the document type. Here it is NL, and here it is INP, like that. You have all the EWM specific attributes in this inbound delivery. And similarly for the outbound process, this outbound delivery request is no more there in S4HANA. Okay, so then
one quick question on the last slide. So
yeah.
In ERP, you have this document flow that shows you the end-to-end linkage of standard process or the documents involved in the process. In EWM now, let's say the delivery gets replicated in outbound delivery or inbound delivery is created in EWM. Is there a linkage back to ERP in the standard document flow?
Yes.
Or is there any report to view it?
No, in the PRDO, in the outbound delivery transaction itself, we can see the reference with the ERP inbound, this ERP PO inbound delivery or ERP SON outbound delivery.
And in the ERP, would it show the EWM document reference as well?
No, ERP will not show the EWM documents. EWM will have the reference of ERP documents. Because why we don't need this here, right? Once the inbound delivery is distributed in EWM, everything needs to be done in the EWM. And in the end, it will call the RFC and update the goods format indicator in the EWM, ERP inbound delivery or outbound delivery. Once the inbound or outbound is distributed in EWM, we will be doing the put away or picking and everything in the EWM only. Okay, we can even print the paperwork in EWM. So we don't need to go back to the ERP outbound delivery to refer anything. In case you want to change the quantity, right, that you can do in the EWM, everything you can do in the EWM. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, and then when we create the warehouse task, this outbound delivery, inbound delivery, EWM inbound delivery, and EWM outbound delivery order are called as a warehouse request. That is a request to the warehouse to execute certain activities. And what activities? That will be specified in my warehouse task. Okay, so the warehouse task contains my source storage area, my destination storage area, and my material and my quantity, how much I want to move, what product I want to move, from where I will pick and from where I will put away. So all this information will be there in the warehouse task. So in the inbound side, you can see that the source storage type is my good receiving area, and the destination will be my warehouse bin. And similarly for the outbound side, my source is my warehouse bin and the destination is the goods issue staging area. So all these warehouse tasks will be linked to the warehouse order. So when we talk about the WM differences, then the warehouse task is considered as a transfer order, and the warehouse request is considered as a transfer request. The warehouse order is the new concept in EWM. That is the work package which you can assign to the operator to execute the warehouse tasks which are linked to the order. Okay. So I will assign the warehouse order to my worker A, and the worker A will be responsible to execute all the tasks which are linked to the order. And similarly, I will assign warehouse order to the worker B, and worker B will be responsible to execute the two warehouse tasks which are linked to this order. And how these orders are created and how the order contains multiple or one warehouse task, that will be based on my warehouse order creation rules. So in this diagram, you can see that all the warehouse tasks are going into the funnel. The funnel is the warehouse order creation rule. Whatever warehouse tasks are meeting the order creation rule, it will be linked in the order, and the remaining will be filtered out. Okay, and then we have the wave management two-step picking. So where we are grouping the deliveries into a wave, and instead of doing the individual picking, we will do the combined picking. Say for example, I have received 3 orders, one with 30 units, second with 40 units, and again with 20 units. So instead of going into the bin picking 30, then going back to the bin picking 40, and then going again into the bin and picking 20, I would have the worker picking the 100, the cumulative quantity 100 together, bring it in the staging intermediate area, and from the intermediate area, he will split based on the requirement for the individual delivery. So this will increase the efficiency of the worker and increase the picking time as well. Okay, then we have the ARP and EWM data transfer. So the SIFT, that is core interface, is no more applicable in my S4HANA. It was there in the non-S4 system where we transfer the vendor batch customer plan to the EWM. But we still need to have the distribution model in S4HANA, which will be calling the RFC connection and posting the document in the EWM. Okay, then we have the warehouse process type, which is a kind of movement type in SAP, ERP. Then we have the packaging specification. So how you want to pack the product. If you want to pack the product in a carton of 50 units, or you want to pack the product in pallets of 100 units, right? All that you can specify in the packaging specification. Then the packaging specification will be determined based on the condition records you maintain, and accordingly it can automate the creation of the handling units, right? Automate the inbound delivery packing. You can have the WT created, warehouse task created based on your pallet quantity. So all this you can achieve through packaging specification. Okay, and then you have the yard management, which is about moving the truck from your gate to the parking and parking to the yard, parking to the door. Okay, so any questions so far?
Yes, for me, Zoor, I'm just a bit confused. Like the way my understanding is, this handling unit, the HU, what you create, it always created in ECC, and that it flows into the EWM. But in your slide, you have shown that there's an interim storage type where basically you gather all the different products for the customer's order, and then from there it's been loaded to the customer's order in the truck. So how this handling unit being managed? Because obviously, if there's a handling unit, then there's a deconsolidation. There will be a split in the handling unit, and this handling unit, when there's a split and then it goes to the interim storage type, it will gather again for the customer order. So how these tracking? How do you basically track these handling units? Because obviously you're gonna lose the
No, the
trace
handling
for
unit,
this handling unit.
it is a regular process that we create the handling unit in the EWM. Handling unit may
Okay,
not always coming from ERP.
because in our system, when we create like the STO process, the stock transfer, so it usually give us a handling unit, and
Correct.
when we
That is the STO process. That is the STO process. But in case of vendor inbound, right? If you have a vendor inbound process, then we will create handling unit in the EWM only. If it is a STO process, then whatever we ship, that we need to receive. So if we are shipping the handling unit number 1, 2, 3, 4, the same 1, 2, 3, 4 we
yeah,
need to receive in the receiving side. So there is no point in creating the new HU.
And it will be the same case for the production goods as well, the one which you
No,
manufacture,
when we do the
finished
production
products.
receipt, no, when we do the production receipt, that time we create the HU, right? Because we are doing the production. I mean, we can do it either at the unit level and then pack it, or we can receive say 100 units of cheese product, and we can uh, post a good receipt of one pallet in the EWM. So that will automatically create the HU in the EWM site.
Okay.
And if you are doing the
Yeah.
production receipt in ERP side, then the same HU will flow into EWM. But with the advanced sorry, with the advanced production integration, we can achieve this directly in the EWM.
So we
Okay.
can able to trace the original HU with the one which we have created.
Yes, so we can create the HU directly in the EWM. We don't need to rely on the ERP. Okay, so for example, my vendor is shipping me the product, right? If my vendor is shipping me the product, then I am receiving the product in the EWM, correct?
Yes.
So I can have the inbound delivery auto packing. If my vendor is shipping me the full pallet, always full pallet, and the remaining cartons. Say my requirement is 550 units and 100 units being the full pallet. So vendor is shipping me 5 HUs of full size and one partial, correct? So I can create these HUs automatically in the EWM based on my packaging specification. Okay, I'm just looking for the course content. Okay, but in case you have the 3PL integration where the 3PL is sending you the inbound this message ASN, or if any vendor is sending you the ASN advanced shipping notification and that contains the HU, then you have the option to pack the inbound delivery ERP inbound delivery with the HU, and same HU will flow into EWM. So based on your business process, you can do the mapping and mapping in the SAP. You just need to configure the number ranges, external number range or internal number range. Right. Again, in case my customer requirement is 150 units, and I have the full pallet of 100 units stored in my warehouse. So I will have to pack 150 in one big carton. That will be the new HU. So in that case, I will have to split the existing pallet, which is of 100, and withdraw 50 out of it and pack one full pallet and one half pallet in one new HU, which is of bigger size and contains 150 units. Correct. So that HU will be created directly in my EWM. Okay. So this will be our core content. We will start with the basics of EWM. I mean, we will configure the brand new warehouse. We will use the existing plant and create the two storage locations in that. And within the storage location, we will map it with the warehouse and create a new warehouse in the EWM. Then we will create all the structural elements, the work center, storage type, storage section, storage bins, activity area, everything we will create for our warehouse. Then we have the process type, warehouse process type. That is again they explain you as per the movement type. Then we have the packaging specification. Then we will do the basic good receipt and basic goods issue process without HU. And then we can do it with HU, so that you are comfortable with both without HU and with HU. Again, the HUs we will be creating in the EWM itself. And if you want to see how the HUs flow from ERP to EWM, so that we can take it up separately. In that case, we need to create the HU in the ERP site. We need to trigger the ASN, and then the inbound delivery ERP will be auto patch, and then it will move into EWM. Then we have the packaging specification, and in the outbound process, we will do the exception handling and the two-step picking. Then we have the storage control, where we will see the deconsolidation and this layout-oriented and process-oriented storage controls. After that, we have warehouse order creation rules that I explain you. And then we have the internal warehouse movement, that is the posting, change, stock transfer, replenishment, and physical inventory. Okay, then we have the PPF, post-processing framework. That is again the brand new concept in EWM. You have the PPF actions getting triggered, and that will, through that you can automate the creation of the warehouse task, you can automate the warehouse process, and you can print the label through PPF, you can print the physical inventory documents, etc. Then wave management, yard management, and we will see the RF process in EWM, and then we have the cross-docking. Okay, so any questions in the course content?
What about slotting? I've heard this word, but I'm not sure. Is there anything slotting in the EWM?
Yeah, the slotting and rearrangement is there in the EWM, but that requires connection with the APO system, where you get the demand and forecasting data from our APO, and then based on that data, you don't need to configure the put away strategy. System will determine it based on your slotting data.
So is it the expected good receipt? So when we're creating those production orders and there's an expected good receipt, is it it falls in the slotting
No,
slotting
the
process?
expected good receipt is no more there in S4HANA, and we don't have the
Okay.
production process in our code, because that
Okay, so
requires extensive integration with the PP module.
yeah, so the decentralized EWM also not will not be needed the EGR. Is that what you're saying for S4HANA? Because you says earlier that S4HANA there's one is called embedded, and this we can also use decentralized enterprise warehouse management. So if let's suppose our client or they opt for decentralized EWM, so do we need the EGR or we don't need it?
No, the EGR is not at all there in S4 system. If it doesn't matter if you are using embedded or non-embedded.
Okay.
Right, like inbound delivery notification, outbound delivery request, your safe integration, your EGR, and several such things are totally sunset and not there in S4HANA.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have the production process in our course content, because this entire course will be taking close to say 35 to 40 hours, and the production requires extensive integration with the PP. We need to maintain the control cycles, we need to maintain the BOM and all those stuff. That's why it is not included here. Okay, so
one thing is, like, if let's suppose we want to test our scenarios, we can do that thing and we can do the configuration as well, or is it going to be pre-configured? So
we will be using the training system, right? We have the training system, and that in the training system, you are free to do whatever configuration you want to do. So we will create our new warehouse, and if you want, you can again create a new warehouse for your hands-on, right? For your practice, and whatever experiments you want to do in the warehouse in any configuration, you can do it. So you will be getting 2 months of server, and then you are free to do whatever you want to do in that.
but obviously the EWM will not gonna work with S4. So do we get the access for S4 as well, or is it like only the EWM?
I am providing training only on the S4 system because everybody is using S4, so there is no point in going back to the R3 and provide training in that.
Okay, so we will be using in S4 embedded EWM. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Or is it going to be? Yeah. Okay.
S4 embedded EWM.
Okay. Okay. Yep. That's all from my side.
Okay, so if you are already working in the EWM, so would you like to see anything in the demo? I mean, I will just show you the system finally. So we will be getting the remote server, right? You need to connect to the remote server and then log in into the SAP. So you can see this is S4HANA 1909 on-premise. Oh, so looks like there is an issue in the system.
Okay. And what about the Furies? Is there anywhere you can, because that's basically an edge of using S4HANA's EWM. So is there any way you can show us the Furies apps or the EWMs?
No, because the Theory app that we need to set up, right? And that requires ABAP help to set up the
But
Theory app.
okay, okay,
And also, the Theory, as you already know, that it is very slow. So
okay,
if you want to complete the full transaction in the Theory, it will take a couple of hours. So
okay. No,
uh, you might have heard
no,
that the clients are nowadays not using Theory because of its performance.
that's surprising because we opted to go for S4HANA, and in 2 months' time we're gonna start doing the all the things, and this is what they're selling, the Fury apps for the EWM.
When you start configuring the Fury, that time you will realize that it is too slow and it is really
Yeah.
frustrating. And if the client is paying for it, then later they will regret and then they will stop using the Fury app.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that is
That's
known
really
to
pointed out.
everybody. That is known
That's
to
good to know.
everybody. They are every time they are coming up, the SAP is coming up with the excuse that they have corrected the performance and now things are good. But after some time, it again starts giving the performance issue. So you run the transaction in the Fury and then you can go and have a lunch and come back, and by that time the
Oh my
transaction,
goodness. Uh, okay,
okay,
so not gonna
that
work.
is how. So you can just evaluate again in case you want to suggest client about Fury
Yep,
apps.
go.
Okay. Okay, then if no questions, then we can close the demo.
Thanks, Saul. Thank you very much. Nice demo. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.